What's up, guys? Welcome back. So we have another product review for you today. I was contacted by a company on Amazon. You can see it right here, what we're going to be doing. It is a heavy-duty 12-volt air compressor, and honestly, with the build that we're doing on the truck right now, it's kind of perfect timing. And also, on my wife's car, we're going to test it on that first. This thing has some pretty heavy-duty claims to it. If it can hold up and do what they say it can do, this is going to be a pretty good product here on the channel to take a look at. And obviously, there'll be a link down below for you if you want to check it out. Let's get it out of the box. We're going to test it on my wife's car first, then we're going to jump up to the big boys, the 35s on the Tundra. Let's get it out. All right, so while we're taking it out of the box, I'll put a picture on your screen of the side. It has all the specs on this thing. So basically, from what I understand and the research I've done, we're going to get the compressor. Actually, it comes in a bag here. So let's take it out of the bag and see what we have. All right, so inside the bag, we have our air line. Set that aside. I believe that's a 26-foot airline. And then the compressor itself. And this thing has a little bit of weight to it. So it is definitely, seems to be, you know, kind of stout, heavy duty. But again, we're going to put the claims to the test here for sure, especially on the Tundra. So, and then in here, looks like we have just an adapter piece. So we'll set that aside with the instructions. And that is it. Set that carrying bag aside, and if this thing works as well as it claims it does with the off-roading and camping and stuff we plan on doing, I'm probably going to permanently mount this in the bed of the truck, but we'll cover that a little bit more down the line. Today's just going to be kind of testing this thing out and seeing how it performs. So yeah, let's head over to actually, before we do that, let's take a look at this thing. So it has, you have your on-off switch right here, you have your breaker reset. This underneath this cap here is going to be your air filter. You could pop that off. It looks like there's little spots for like a little screwdriver. If you pop that cap off, that's where your air filter will be. Obviously the motor housing right here. So yeah, like I said, this has got some weight to it. I can't remember the weight of it off the top of my head. I want to say it's about 16 pounds, I think. But again, I'll put that on your screen. So it says max pressure of 150 psi. It's going to draw 45 amps of power at max and 180 liters per minute, so 6.35 cubic feet per minute of airflow. So that's a pretty good amount of airflow for something this size. So let's take it over to the wife's car and test this thing out. Okay, so reason I said this is kind of perfect timing of this video, not only for the truck, but also my wife's Highlander here, her front passenger tire has actually been kind of like very slowly leaking on us. She has to stop and put air in it every few days. Obviously, we're going to be replacing them, but again, this is just kind of perfect timing. So before we actually hook it up to the tire and put this to the test, just one other thing. Obviously, you have, you're going to want to hook this to your battery. Now, if I decide to permanently mount this in the Tundra, I may end up cutting these off and just hardwiring them, but for obviously just for testing purposes, we're just going to hook direct to the battery with the gator clips there. And then as far as the airline hose, so far I definitely like, it's a quick connect system. So again, if I permanently mount this in the Tundra or if I don't, it makes it very kind of organized and neat for storing, because this literally just very quickly pops on and off the compressor. So that's pretty cool. I do like the fact that you could literally just pop it on and off that easily, just to kind of store the airline out of sight when you're not using it. It also comes with the PSI gauge on there, okay? And then you can do one of two things when you're hooking up to the tire. This will actually just screw onto your valve stem, or they give you this adapter that I showed real quick. If you screw the adapter onto here, it just makes it quicker and easier to pop it on your valve stem. All right, so I'm going to use it like this instead of screwing on and off. I think I'm just going to leave this connected just like this. That way we can just clamp on and go. All right, and then it does send, they do send you a couple other adapters here. You know, if you wanted to blow anything else up, it looks like, you know, they send a needle for soccer ball, stuff like that. A couple other things that you can screw on there for rafts and other things. So that comes with it as well. Let's get this hooked up. We're going to see how many, what the tire's at right now, and we'll see how fast it can blow this thing back up. All right, let's check the tire and see where we're at before we do anything else. Just going to pop that on there, clamp that over, and right now I'll have my wife bring the camera in so you guys can see. She is between 25 and 30. So I'm actually going to air it down even more. Let's take it down to... One thing I want to show you, as we're deflating, if you remove this piece and screw it on without that piece on there, you can do hands-free. Because if you try to deflate like we just did, this will end up kind of popping off because of the pressure coming up against it. If you want to go hands-free or whatever, you can just partially screw that on there. And let's see where we're at. So we are, I'm going to go a little bit more. She's still between 20 and 25. I'm going to take this down to probably under 20 just to see how quick it can inflate back up. All right, so we took it all the way down to just above 15. I'm going to call it about 16 PSI. All right, and you can see we have the car running. Quick connect hose is obviously hooked up. We just have it to the positive and negative of the battery. Now, obviously, you want to have the car running when you're doing anything like this. This does draw a decent amount of power. If you hook it up to the car without it running, chances are you might drain your battery, especially if you're using it, you know, for all 4 tires or whatever. So definitely recommend having your car running while you have this connected to the battery. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start a stopwatch on my watch to see how quick we can go from the 16 back up to about 35 is where we're going to put all 4 tires. So let's see how quick it can do this. All right, so we're connected. We're just going to go ahead and hit the start button on my watch, hit the power button on the compressor, and yeah, let's see how quick this thing will go. All right, guys, we are up to 35, or well, we'll call it 34. It's just under the 35. 1 minute and 8 seconds. That's not bad at all. And again, this tire has a very slow leak, so you know that may have factored in as well. But yeah, I mean, 1 minute and 8 seconds to go from 16 to 34. That's not bad. I can't wait to see how it performs on the Tundra. So I'm going to go ahead and equal out my wife's tires out while we're doing this real quick, and then we'll jump over to the truck and see how it does on the 35s. So here we go. This is the major test that I wanted to do with this thing. Obviously, if you follow the channel, you know we're running 35s by 12.5s by 18s. We have them, this tire aired down to 15 PSI. And again, with the off-roading we plan on doing, obviously if you off-road, you know, different terrains, you're going to want to air up, air down, all that good stuff. So that's why I really want to see what this thing can do and how fast it can do it. So 15 PSI, we're going to go ahead and turn it on. We're going to start the timer on my watch again and see my normal pressure on these tires. I usually run around 35, give or take. That's my daily. So let's see how quick we can go from 15 to 35. The other thing before we start the clock is I want to see how it handles, again, a bigger tire like this. I'm going to check to see if it's getting warm, if the hose is getting warm, if the motor housing is getting warm. I didn't check that on my wife's car. Honestly, that was a pretty easy job for this thing. So while we're doing the bigger tire, I am going to check the cables and stuff and the motor housing to see if it's getting really hot or anything like that. All right, so here we go. We're going to hit start and power. Alright guys, there we go. So we just stopped it. You can see on my watch, 2 minutes and 27 seconds. We hit 35 PSI and feeling the motor housing is definitely warm. I wouldn't say it's hot. Like, I mean, I could leave my hand on there and it doesn't burn or anything. So it does get warm, but not excessively hot. The power cables, the air lines, none of that. The air line up here by the compressor gets a little warm, but it's only really like the first little stretch here. Again, it's not excessively hot or anything. Power cable doesn't feel warm at all. So again, 2 minutes, 27 seconds to go from 15 to 35 PSI on a 35-inch tire. For this type of compressor, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm definitely impressed with this thing, guys. I want to give a huge thank you to Gobege. I hope I say that correctly. The company that sent this to us. There will be a direct link down below. After testing this out on my wife's Highlander and the 35s on the Tundra, I can absolutely say I would recommend this. Now, obviously, as far as longevity and things like that, I can't speak on that just yet. I do think I am going to permanently mount this in the truck bed, though. Again, for off-roading, when I'm airing down, airing up, this thing is going to come in handy. The air line is 26 feet long, so if I mount it in the truck and hardwire it to the auxiliary battery system that we're currently setting up in the bed of the truck, I'll have plenty of hose to get to all 4 tires when I need it. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. Now, comparing to other compressors on the market, this is obviously a little bit different of a type. There's a big name brand on the market that everybody knows about. Their compressors are pricey. They're good. It's top-notch company, top-notch products, but they're very expensive. The price of this thing is literally like less than half of what you'll pay, maybe even like a third of what you'd pay for a big name brand compressor, onboard compressor. So this has spots where you can permanently mount it in there. I'm just gonna directly mount it to the bed of the truck, and I really honestly, for the price point of this thing, you're not going to get much better. I'm definitely impressed with the power behind this, and I can absolutely recommend it after doing this little test on it. So if you have any questions on anything you saw, let me know when I do get it mounted in the bed and have a direct hookup to power and all that good stuff. I'll do maybe like a short follow-up video just to show you what I'm doing there. I love the fact that this quick disconnect pops on and off like that easily, so you can store the airline away when you're not using it. So yeah, very impressed with this thing. Thank you again to Gobege Company. Link will be down below. Now, as of right now, as of the day making this video, they're actually on sale on Amazon. But if you happen to miss the sale, if you see this video later down the road, they did give me a discount code for this compressor. You can't use the code while it's on sale right now, but if you miss the sale, you can use my discount code that I'll put down below for you. So direct link and code down below the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Any questions, let me know, and we'll see you on the next one.